Hey guys, it's Nikki. This is Scratching the Dirt. This video did not post on Sunday, and it looks like I may have to back off of that kind of Sunday, every single Sunday schedule that I had planned on with life and the full-time job and everything going on. It just isn't happening the way I wanted it to, and rather than kill myself with late nights when I really need some sleep, I'm going to just get as many videos out whenever I can. You want to make sure that you know when I've posted a new video. Just hit the bell. You'll get a notification that I've posted a new video, and then you can watch it when you do your YouTube viewing. But this video is all about our tomatoes. Before this past weekend, I did everything from seed. I had bought two plants. I had bought a rosemary plant and I had bought a miniature rose. Those were the only two plants I bought this entire season. Every single other plant you see out there is either from last year or already established in the garden, or it came from seed this year. So the tomatoes that I started from seed just did weird stuff. When I got them into the ground, they started growing with these curled up leaves. They weren't flattening out, and it wasn't like a protect itself from the heat thing. They were growing out curled. I'd never seen it before. It was either inconsistent watering or too much fertilizer from what I've researched, from what I found. I'm not sure what it was. I just know that I had gotten to the point where I said, okay, these have to come out. We still have time in our growing season here in 9A to get tomatoes. Even if we start them now, I was originally going to start them again from seed this weekend. And I'll talk about it in the video. We have a local nursery where she has really great prices and really great plants. So I actually went and bought some tomato plants. So this video is me and Jose both working on cleaning up and fixing that tomato bed. So we're gonna look through that. Some of it I speed up because it's the two of us just trying to get it done. Jose cleared out all the tomatoes, and then I came back. I cleaned up a basil that was massive that I wanted to keep, but I needed to pull back. I took out a couple of marigolds that I had chopped in a couple of videos ago, and I just damaged them so bad. One of them flopped completely over. And they both were showing damage or signs of starting to die from the bottom up. So I just went ahead and pulled those out. And then we planted in some new starts that we bought at the nursery. So that's what this video is. It's that process. This was basically a couple of hours all told that it took us, but I just filmed some of it. So let's go look at the tomato bed and see what we did. Hey, 4th of July. Happy 4th, everybody. We're out here. Jose and I just pulled up a bunch of these tomatoes that were this bed. So let me back over here. Let's get our bearings on where we are. So this is this part right here, and then we come up, and this was the tomato bed. So we went through here. This one and this one are sun sugar tomatoes, and I don't want to lose those, so we're saving these. We pulled out what was here and here. We pulled out what was over there and what was right here. This one looks pretty good. I'm gonna take this basil down and just let it stay. It looks kind of rough down at the bottom, but once I chop it, it'll come back. There's another little basil right here. This tomato we're gonna try to save. We pulled out everything that was right here. This marigold is coming out. This is one of the ones that I tried to trim at the bottom, and all I really managed to do was kill it, I think. So it's on its way out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. We took these out, we saved the dill. And then over here we have a couple of San Marzano tomatoes that are doing well. So we left those in. This back here is the carnage. This is all the tomato plants that we pulled out. So I had decided to pull these out because they were barely producing. I've had trouble with these from the get-go. They've been looking pretty sad, and every time I would think, oh, I want to start over, I would think, well, maybe because there were some like tomatoes on them. And I decided this week that I'm just going to go for it. They're just coming out. We went, let me flip you around. We went this morning to a local nursery and got all of this. So the flowers are on sale. I got a couple of chili pekins, but there's tomatoes in here. So we're going to do these. And then I also have some seeds. It's July 4th, but we still have time here in this zone to start tomatoes. We'll actually still be pulling tomatoes in October. So we have plenty of time to start some seeds. So these over here in the rows are doing really well. Really well. And there's lots of good looking tomatoes on here. Just this one bed, this one. It just really, this whole long bed, it's a 16-foot bed. Just struggle with tomatoes. And even the San Marzanos that are left in there don't look as good as the others. But we're going to give them some love here and try to catch them up. So that's what we're doing first today. We have rain coming this afternoon. So we're going to see how much we can get done before the rain comes. Hopefully get the plants in so they can soak up all that delicious rain. Pull this basil back. So this tomato we're saving. So I'm going to trim her up, but I'm going to keep these separate because the basil can go to the chickens. Tomato trimmings cannot. I'll start with this little one. I got me a pot here that I can these trimmings into. I'm going to take these the basil is just going crazy this year, which it always does. We always have really good luck with basil. So I'm constantly pulling where it's bolting. I pulled all the bolt off of this just like a week ago, and now it's bolting again. But we have this one little basil. I'm going to let it stay here for a second. I may pull it out fully, depends on what it looks like once I get the tomatoes in here. Because I also have back here, there's this dill. It's flowering, but I want to keep the dill because I want to use my own dill for pickles. This is the first year I've been able to do that. So I am going to pull the flowers off though, because it is making it like fall over. So we got that down. The basil, I'm going to look. So some of this is coming. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep some of this for us. I'm going to dry some of this. So some of it will go to the chickens, and the really good stuff at the top I'm going to take inside and I'm going to put in the dehydrator. But I'm going to be pretty brutal with this. It's coming pretty far down. I think I'm going to start here and see what we end up with. I'll probably do this in stages, like a haircut. You know, like my girl always tells me, you can always go back and take some more off. You can't put it back on whenever I'm not sure how short I want to go. So that's what we're going to do with this basil. I'm not sure how short. I am going to pull this good stuff off though. Jose has been eating a ton of caprese salad. So our most of our tomatoes haven't come in yet. We do have some San Marzanos that have come in, but a man he works with has a ton of tomato plants, and he came in with like 2 Walmart bags of tomatoes. And Jose went and bought the little fresh mozzarella balls in oil and sliced those up with the tomatoes. And then we've been pulling basil from the garden, a little olive oil, salt and pepper. Oh, delicious. And he has been loving that. So I'll save some of this basil inside so we can have some more caprese, and the rest I will dry. I'll put in the dehydrator and we can have it, for cooking. So I'm not being super quick about this. I kind of just I guess I could just kind of come in and mow it down and then see where we're at. Be a little more precious once I get down. So I watch other gardeners and they talk about, the right spot to trim and all that. And I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't do all that stuff. I only have a certain amount of time and energy. And on things like basil, where I have such success, I don't get super specific about how I trim it back, because I've always had it just come back regardless of where I chop it at. So now typically I'm chopping it much higher than this just to pull the bolting off or just to harvest. But for this, for our purposes today, I am just going to get it down. And then we can see when we get in here that we do have some damage on some of these leaves, some brown spots. So what should happen, that I'm going to pull these off. And see what it does. The first year we were here, there were 3 garden beds over there, and I had so much basil in there. And I would get to like September, October, and be like, okay, well, we're done. Like, let's just chop it back. And I would take it down where there's that much of the main stalk. And then the freaking things would come back like insanely huge. So, like I said, basil is one of those things that just does really well for us, no matter what I do. So, of course, I'm not trying to invite a first time ever situation where it doesn't work. But so I've got it down pretty low, and this one I'm going to actually bring a little bit further. So, and I'm going to have a lot of basil to sort through here. I definitely won't get it all in the dehydrator at once, but herbs go pretty quick. So, any of this that has bolt on it, I'm going to chop off real quick. The chickens will love the flowers. So the bolted pieces can come off. Got the soil that we're going to use put into that bed. So, all right, we've gotten all the dirt in, topped it all up. Now I'm coming in with these tomatoes. So these are Grand Marshall. Never grown these before. This is what she had over at the nursery. So I'm going to pop these in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have room for 5. So, this is actually 2, but the second one looks kind of puny. I'm going to leave these together as one. I'm pulling off these bottom sleeves. I'll just throw them in the hole, let them compost in place, and then just tuck her in. Here's your new home. And then on to the next. Pull this bottom stuff off. Get the bottom of the hole. I'm doing it. I'm doing stuff. Which one? Oh yeah, it's on the other side of the fence. I never went back to grab it. I tried to prop it up, but it's too. Yeah, it definitely needs a bigger pot. Okay, I've got one extra of those to put somewhere. This one is, what are you? Big Beef Plus. Another one I've never grown before. So she had Celebrity, which we've grown before, but haven't had a whole lot of luck with. Aside from cherry tomatoes, I just haven't had a lot of luck with tomatoes. So I'm really hoping to get some actual tomato, like slicer tomatoes and big tomatoes this year. Okay. You tuck in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. You. This one's pretty big. Goes off. All right, baby, live your best life in here. It'd be so perfect if we get a good rain this afternoon. At this point, after we got all of this done, everything that you've seen, it had started raining off and on. And so I stopped filming because I didn't want the camera out in the rain. And then I did what I usually do, and I pushed myself a little too far. I went too long out in the heat and humidity, and did too much. And I got to the point where I had to just come in and call it a day for outside. We ended up getting some rain that afternoon, but not as much as we had hoped. So, but I will tell you that if you are in a hot and humid place and you're like me, you got to start, I'm telling myself, you got to start listening to your body. I knew when we had finished up those tomato beds, and then I had moved over and I was cleaning up, I decided the green beans were coming out and that I was going to plant some new stuff over in that bed where the green beans were. And I knew when I started cutting those that I wasn't feeling great, that the humidity was getting to me. Even with the little showers and the rain cool, I hadn't eaten that morning. I pushed too far, and I got to the point where as I was trying to clean up, I literally was standing outside going, how do I carry all these things in? Like my brain was just wackadoodle. So, we're going to try real hard over here, Nikki. Remember not to push it so hard. Everything will always get done. That is one of my kind of toxic traits, I guess, in the garden, is that I try to go too far. because I want to get so many different things done, but it will all be waiting there for later that evening or the next morning when it's cooler. So I don't have, after those tomato beds, I don't have any footage of anything else I did this weekend. It's part of the reason why this video was late is because I was like, what am I going to do? All I have is this, but we're going to go with what we've got, get this one out, and then try to remember how to plan a little bit better next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, do all of those things, and I will see you at the next one. In the meantime, you guys keep scratching the dirt.